Episode 52, All Roads Lead to Dayton Hamvention 2016.
MTCRadio.com presents Ham Radio 360, the podcast, with your host, Cale Nelson, K4CDN.
Welcome into episode 52. I'm Cale Nelson, your host. My call is K4CDN. I'm in upstate South Carolina. I've been a ham for about 4 or 5 years, maybe 6, I guess, and been podcasting about amateur radio for about 2 years. I came out of a 10-year stint in non-commercial FM radio and was looking for something to do, and podcasting seemed to fit the niche, and I enjoy amateur radio, put them together, and here we are producing bi-weekly podcasts for you, and we really appreciate you joining us every single time. Now, this show is episode number 52, and it's released the week of Hamvention 2016. That's the big Ham Fest. Can you call it big? How about huge Ham Fest in Dayton, Ohio, happening this weekend? Okay, I'm going to date the show. It's happening this weekend, and I'm going to be there thanks to you, the listener, for sending me to represent the show along with Jeremy and George in booth VA406. Now, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes, but we're going to talk to some of our sponsors of the show and of our booth space there at the Hamvention. It's going to be great. I'm going to introduce to you a new sponsor, as well as we're going to even catch up with Richard on the road from MTCRadio.com. They've been with us from day one, and whether they're out hitting 28 or 30 Hamfests a season, or they're sitting in Paris, Texas, answering the phone, they've got what you need when it comes to ICOM gear. Yeah, the new IC7300, they've got it. You want a D-Star rig, they've got it. And if you're coming to Hamvention, you need to check him out. He'll be in the flea market. If not, if you need ICOM gear and you can't get there, don't fear. MTCRadio.com, all the best deals, all over the internet. Again, it's MTCRadio.com. A few weeks ago, I was traveling. I know that never, ever happens. For Cale to travel, number one, for Cale to travel twice in the same month within 3 weeks of each other, it's totally unheard of in the last 15 years. But I was traveling. I was in a hotel room in Cleveland, Tennessee, when I got on the Skype, and George, KJ6VU from Pac-10, and I had this conversation. Now, if it sounds like I'm whispering, I kind of am, because I'm not used to staying in a hotel and don't know how loud you can be in there. And anyway, I took the gear, set up, and we had this conversation here with George. It's George, KJ6VU, and if I'm looking at your name, George, I can always say it right. But if I can't spell it phonetically by looking at it, I can't. I'm sorry.
I'm going to have to send you some text with the syllables broken up so you can pronounce it just right.
I mean, could you imagine me trying to introduce you to my, to some friends? I'm like, hey, this is George Lord. I'm totally so sorry. That's names right. Are important, and I'm sorry I murder yours every time I try to say it.
My ancestors are rolling over right now listening to this.
Well, speaking of rolling over, I have rolled up to Tennessee. We're recording these segments throughout the week as we prepare to go to Dayton, and I'm in a hotel room. So if I sound like I'm whispering, I kind of am, because I'm just kind of, I don't normally stay in hotel rooms, so I'm not used to, I feel like George and Jeremy traveling with this gear and setting up on this table. But and I'll be doing that in a few weeks at Dayton as we break down every evening after the show. But George, I want to talk to you about your new Pac-10 Mini. I'm kind of calling it the Pac Tiny, and I know that's not the right term. But when I held the thing in my hands, that is what came to mind. And thanks for sending it out, by the way. It's a beautiful piece of equipment. I'm really afraid to even get it dirty because it's so.
Oh, no. Use it. I mean, it's the whole idea.
Well, I this morning on the way to Tennessee, I had a conversation on the local repeater as I was going up the road. A gentleman was asking me, where can you get a Pac-10? Why did you need a Pac-10? And I said, well, you should probably check out their brand new one too. He's got a KX3. He's looking to set up on the side of the road with his motorcycle when he's out traveling. And I said, you need to check out the Mini. And he said, well, what's the difference? And I said, well, there's a lot of difference, but if you listen to the show next week, you'll hear all the differences. So this is for Ron, K4YYM. So, George, tell us a little bit. Oh, we've talked about the Mini. We've talked about it a couple of times, but I really want to kind of dig in here real quick and let folks know what they can expect to see from you at Dayton regarding the new Pac-10 Mini.
Yeah, sure. So the whole idea behind the Pac-10 Mini was to take some of the ideas from the original Pac-10 design and make a super portable version. And it's not everything the original Pac-10 was. The original Pac-10 is a resonant antenna. So it's really designed to be a dipole or an inverted V or a ground plane and allow you to configure it in different ways. The idea for the Mini was something even smaller and even more portable that you could literally toss into a day pack with your portable HF rig and hit the trail. I noticed that when I would do that, I would have wire wound up around some kind of wire winder plastic thing, and I would have maybe a matching unit like a 9-to-1 UNUN and some coax and some hardware to help string it up, and it was kind of a bit of a jumble. And so the idea behind the Mini was let's take as much of that stuff as we can and figure out a clever way to hook it all up into a unit that makes it really easy to deploy it and really easy to put it away. Because I hate dumping out a backpack full of stuff, sorting through it, hooking stuff up, setting it up, then taking it all apart, and you're tempted to just throw it in your backpack. So I really wanted to make something that was very self-contained. So hence the Mini.
And it's very self-contained because the UNUN is built into the wire winder. And then the wire wraps around the wire winder and the UNUN, so you have a package that will fit in a man's hand.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole Mini is built around a piece of fiberglass circuit board material. We used thicker than usual material. Most PC boards are 1.6 millimeters in thickness. We went with a 2 millimeter thick PC board, so it's a little bit more rugged. The PC board is 5.5 inches long and about 2.25 inches wide at the tips, but it is cut in at the top and on bottom and on the sides. So it's kind of in a X shape. So that allows you to mount the matching element, the transformer, in the middle. At the bottom is a BNC coax connector, and then the wire is soldered to the circuit board. And being an X shape, it allows you to wrap the wire around the circuit board. And if you wrap the wire in a figure 8 fashion, when it unfurls, it won't kink up. So the design lends itself to unwinding really easily, deploying the antenna, and when you're done, just wind it up and you're done. And you don't wind it like in a traditional coil. You go back and forth up like a figure 8, and it won't get all tangled up.
And you used what gauge of the wire did you use? Because it's a really nice weight of wire.
Yeah, we really shopped around. So if you use regular hookup wire, like PVC coated hookup wire, it tends to kink and tangle and all that. So we shopped around and found some really good antenna wire. So it's 26 gauge. It is copper coated steel, so it's really, really strong. And the outer jacket is kind of a slightly slippery plastic. Mm-hmm. So it's actually relatively expensive wire. So you can buy it online. So and it's made for antennas. So we kind of went top drawer with all the parts. So we really got the best, quality of everything.
It feels that way when you hold it. I mean, it's so small, it looks fragile until you hold it and you can feel the difference. You can feel the quality, even the thickness you can feel in the actual PCB. And looking at it, I mean, this thing, we've talked about how well built it is, but I mean, looking at it, you can tell it's well built, and it comes in 2 colors.
Yeah, it does. And we actually color coded it because there's 2 different versions of it. So in order to protect the transformer, we wrap the center of the Mini with some thick heat shrink tubing. And one version is a 9-to-1 transformer, and the other one is a 50-to-1 transformer. And once you wrap it, you can't tell what's inside. So we wrap the 9-to-1 with yellow shrink wrap, and we wrap the 50-to-1 with black shrink wrap, so you can tell which one is which.
I got you. Now, I got the yellow version, so I've got 9-to-1, and you helped me make that decision when I told you how I would probably use it in the field. Tell me what the 9-to-1 is primarily used for.
So the 9-to-1 is for a radio that has an antenna tuner built in, preferably a wide-range tuner designed for end-fed wires. So the idea behind the 9-to-1 is if you don't know what band you're going to operate on, If you have a 9-to-1 transformation ratio, then odds are you can bring the wire impedance down to the range that your tuner can handle. So when you end feed a wire, the impedance at that wire is determined by the frequency that you're operating at and the length of the wire. So if that wire is a half wavelength at the frequency you're operating, the impedance is very, very high, on the order of 2, 3, 4,000 ohms. If the wire is not a half wave, in fact, if it's, let's say, not resonant at all, the impedance will go down. It won't go down all the way to 50 ohms, unfortunately, but it'll come down to 3, 4, 5, 6, 800 ohms. Once it's in that range, a 9-to-1 transformer will bring it down into the 50 to 200 ohm range, which is easily tunable by a random wire tuner. So if you have, if you don't know what band you're going to be on, you want to operate all bands, and you have a tuner, then the 9-to-1 is the most universal matching transformer.
Okay, and that's me. I've got a TS50 and I got a tuner, and that's how I roll. So, yeah, and I never know what I'm going to try to use. So, all right, so we've covered that one. Tell me about the 50-to-1, because that's 50-to-1. What?
Yeah. So, well, that goes back to my point about the half wavelength feed point impedance. So if you want to operate a resonant antenna, a resonant half wavelength at the frequency you're operating, the impedance is going to be really high. It's going to be, let's say, 3,000 ohms. So you need to bring that 3,000 ohms down to 50 ohms. So 9-to-1 is just not going to make it, right? So 9-to-1 is not enough of a ratio. If the transformer is much higher, around 50-to-1, then you've got a pretty good chance of bringing that, let's say, 3,000 ohms plus or minus quite a bit down to pretty close to 50 ohms. So if you take the end-fed half-wave version, and you don't need an antenna tuner, you could plug it straight into the radio, and then you trim the length of the antenna wire until you get a very good 50 ohm match. Okay. And you could get the antenna down to 1.7, 1.6 to 1, just by trimming the length of the wire.
Now, does it come with a set amount of wire on it for a particular band, or how are you doing that?
So that was really a good question. So how much wire do we include? So for both of the antennas, we decided to put 40 feet of wire in both of the antennas. Now, for the 9-to-1, the perfect length to use, if you want to operate on all bands, the perfect length to use is a length of wire which is not harmonically related to any of the bands you're operating. In other words, pick a length of wire that under all bands is not a quarter wave and it's not a half wave. Because again, at a half wave, you're going to have a really high impedance, and you want to avoid that.
Right.
So if you do the math, it turns out that under about 60 or 70 feet, there's a few lengths which work pretty well. So 29 feet is kind of a magic number. It's kind of a magic number because it's not resonant anywhere. So it's equally bad on all bands, which is really what you want.
Okay.
Now, on the 50-to-1, which is designed for an end-fed half wave, you want to cut the wire to be a half wavelength. So again, we provide 40 feet of wire, and with 40 feet, you can cut it down to a half wave on 20, or a half wave on 17, or 15, or 12, or 10, or whatever band that is higher in frequency, therefore shorter in length. Now, if you said, well, that's all great, but I want to operate on 40 meters, 40 meters would require about a 66-foot half wavelength, then you could just solder on some extra wire. Or if you really want to do a perfect job, you could remove the wire we supply, get your own wire, solder it on, and then have as much wire on the winder as you like. The reason that we went with 40 feet for 20 meters is we felt that the most common band that people would operate would be 20 meters or higher frequency. And the reason is that above that, the wire is going to be 66 feet long. And when you're on the trail and you want to make a contact, try to get 66 feet of wire up in the air is, good luck.
Yeah. Even
if you bring the big 10-meter, 32.5-foot fiberglass mast that's part of the Pactena system, that's still 33 feet. It's not 66 feet. So we felt that most people would be operating 20 meters. The other thing that we played around with was the idea of making it a dual-band antenna. And you could do that if you wind a coil. So this was actually kind of a cool experiment. We took a piece of PVC pipe, I think it was 1 inch diameter OD PVC pipe, 3 inches of that stuff, and a bunch of magnet wire, number 26 gauge, I think it was, and we wound somewhere around 50 turns of wire around this piece of PVC. And then we put 2 little machine screws through it at either end. And we put that coil in the middle of the wire. So we had from the Pactena feed point out to somewhere around 34, 35 feet. Then we put the coil, and then about another 6 feet. So the total length of that antenna with the coil in it was around 42 feet.
Okay.
And with that, the antenna would work on both 20 meters and on 40 meters.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool because now you got a 40-20 antenna, and it's only 41 or 42 feet, not 66 feet, so it's more manageable.
Yeah.
And in fact, we were thinking, that we should have a coil wound and put that in the kit, and we just ran out of time. So we thought, okay, we'll just publish how to do this.
It's kind of roll your own kind of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, actually, it makes for a great build project because you start with the basic antenna. Oh, you want to work 40 meters? Well, go to Home Depot, buy some PVC pipe and some magnet wire, and make a coil.
I see a great video on the making here.
That's a good idea. We should do that.
Get Jeremy on that right away.
Duly noted. Assignment taken.
Exactly. Yeah, y'all work on that. The video guys will handle that.
So what's fun about that is it starts to get you thinking, what if I wanted 80 meters or what, then you could kind of play with other designs. So by the way, why 40 feet of wire? The answer was because if you wanted a half wave on 20, you'd snip it off at about 31 feet and throw the 9 feet away.
Right.
If you wanted to do this dual band 40-20, there is enough wire to do that.
Okay. Well, that makes plenty of sense. It's a dual purpose dual band.
Exactly.
It can be.
It can be.
And you don't have to order 6 feet of expensive, nice steel copper clad wire. Fantastic. Exactly. And you've got these in stock now. They're on the Pactena website, right?
That's right. We made a pile of them. We're gonna bring most of them to Dayton.
Okay.
And hopefully leave them there. Well, see how it goes.
Sell them to somebody. You're not just going to leave them.
Well, they won't be left in the booth.
Yeah,
they'll be there.
But they'll be in the booth.
Purchase. Yes, we'll definitely have them there in the booth.
That'll be Bravo Alpha 406. If I'm not mistaken.
BA 406 near the ARRL and Tapper and a bunch of great folks.
Yeah, and the 1010 International Net is really close to us as well.
Mm.
I just found that out the other day. Keith told me. KR7RK. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Our former guest from 1010 International Net says they're really close, so that'd be cool to get to catch up with those guys too. All right, so Bravo Alpha 406 is the Pactena booth that's sponsoring us, Ham Radio 360. Thank you again, Pactena. And we're excited. I know that there's been a lot of excitement on some of the soda boards and some of the pages I follow on Facebook regarding the introduction of the Mini here, and it's a very well built product again from Pactena. And I get asked this a lot, George. Before we go, are there any of the original Pactenas left, or is that something that's coming again?
Oh boy, yeah, I get the question a couple times a week, actually. Thank goodness for that. The short answer is no. We have masts, and we have chokes, and we have the 9-to-1 feed points, but the complete antenna wire elements and all that, we don't have any. They really sold super quick, and we're all out. And we were already thinking about the Mini, and we sold out of the originals, and we thought, well, let's finish off in the Mini. Let's get them made and get them to Dayton. And then after the dust settles from Dayton, we'll probably go back and look at making another batch of the originals.
Cool. You heard it here first, folks. Well, George, it's always great to catch up with you, man. In just a matter of days, I'll traipse into the ball arena there at Hamvention and get to shake your hand for the very first time. Really excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited. That'll be really fun, and I'm really looking forward to meeting listeners and getting out to talking to other folks.
Well, we've gotten just loads of feedback, really loads of feedback since the name change, which is so when you do something like that, you're taking a great risk because people may not like the name. They may not want to try to update their website favorites or whatever. But it's been the opposite of that. 180 degrees, which is not quite 360, but it's been great. And, you and Jeremy have played a very large part in that, and thank you very much. Thank you for the sponsorship, and thank you for coming on to chat with us about the new Mini. It's a great-looking unit. I can't wait to take the TS50 out in the box. It's about 20 pounds to the yard and get it working.
Hey, one other thing I want to mention, by the way, before we go, Saturday at 2:15 at Dayton, I'm doing a forum talk on portable HF antennas, and I give you one guess what I'm going to talk about. So at that forum session, I'm going to explain how we designed the Mini and the design trade-offs we made and how it works, and share with everybody how it's designed. And if you want to make your own, that's perfectly fine. So just to be really clear about this, Pactena is not our day job. That we don't do this for a living. In fact, it's almost like we ship $1 with every one that we sell. So this is, it's not for our main source of income by any stretch of the imagination. So we're happy to share the design and the idea with people. If you want to build your own, I think that's great. The only reason we make them is because a lot of people would like to have them, and they just don't have the time to make it. They just want it because there's other stuff that they want to build, or they don't have the interest in actually constructing it, and that's fine. So we make them for people who just want them. But if you want to make your own, come to Dayton, come to the forum, and all the secrets will be revealed. These are carefully guarded secrets that were originally published in the 1934 ARRL handbook, I think. So.
and I hope we're going to have that recorded as well, so maybe we can play it back for our listeners.
So I'm gonna try to record the session. It may or may not work out, but if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna record a presentation of the offline of the presentation. Fabulous. So we'll be posting an audio version of the presentation and all the PowerPoint slides after Dayton for sure.
That's awesome, George. Man, thank you so much for coming on with us. As always,
my pleasure, Cale.
I can't wait to see you, man. It's going to be great. I am I'm
really looking forward
stoked.
to it.
It's going to be awesome. Folks,
go
ahead.
I'm looking forward to it very much.
Absolutely. It's KJ6VU. Guys, check them out, pactena.com. You can check out the Mini there. If you want to wait till Dayton, you can wait till Dayton. But they're going to sell like crazy. So if you want to go and get yours on the way, check it out, pactena.com. Dan Romanchik, KB6NU. He's been a guest on the show before. He's known as the CW Geek. He's a writer. He creates the no-nonsense study guides for those of you looking to get your license or even upgrading your license. We're going to talk about his brand new extra study guide, his CW forum he's going to host at Hamvention, and more right here. Dan, thank you for being here with us today.
Hey, my pleasure, Cale.
It's been a while since we've had you on, but again, welcome back. It's always great to hear your voice.
Oh, thanks.
Hey,
always good to be on.
Yeah. Now, you're going to be at Dayton, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I am. And not only am I going to be at Dayton, I'm actually speaking at Dayton.
Okay, so you're doing like a forum, I guess is what they call that?
Yeah, they call them forums, but it's really, in my case, it's really just a talk. I'm going to be talking about how to get into CW and how to choose a key and, what apps might be out there to learn with and stuff like that.
Well, I know that we'll have a lot of folks interested in that. Dan, will you be recording that while you're there?
I do plan to record it, yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we can play it on an upcoming program or something, or have it available to the listeners, because I know folks, we see those questions a lot. Where do I start? What apps do I use? And what is the best key or paddle or whatever to begin with? So that I know that there will be a lot of interest there. When is and where is your talk there?
The talk is at 9:15 a.m. on Friday morning, which is really not the best spot, but that's okay. And it's in room 5.
Okay. All right. Room 5 at 9 o'clock. Now, I'll
9:15.
9:15. Be there at 9 o'clock so you'll get a good seat. I'll be close to landing by then. So I'm going to miss your talk, unfortunately. But I do look forward to getting to see you and hope that you can find some time to hang out with us at the Pactena sponsored Ham Radio 360 booth.
Oh, I'm definitely planning on it.
Absolutely. Well, great, man. Great. Hey, you've just recently re-released your extra study guide for the new question pool. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, it's just updated, just hot off the press. And this time I have a print version, which I didn't have before.
Okay.
So people can order it as a Kindle ebook, as a PDF, or as a print version now. And they can do this, the ebooks they can get right off my website, but they can get everything, the ebooks and the print version, from Amazon.
Fantastic. And we'll have a link to that here in our show notes. Now, you've gone through all the questions, and you went through all the past questions as a general that really needs to upgrade, and I just haven't gotten it done. Tell me, what are the differences in this pool versus the last pool, or did you recognize any differences?
Actually, there are quite a few changes. I'm going to guess about, I didn't do an exhaustive analysis, but I'm going to guess about 20% of the questions have either been dropped or are changed. And while it hasn't made the test really too much harder, it is a little bit more difficult. But the questions are more relevant. They dropped a lot of what I would consider irrelevant questions.
Okay. And we've heard that complaint for a long time, even with the technician test and the general test. Times are changing, and sometimes it may take 8 years instead of 4 to bring the questions up to where we're at today. I probably should have tested before the new question. But I guess it goes into effect in July, right?
Right, July 1st.
Okay, so we could be studying now with your new no-nonsense guide and be ready for the new questions come July.
Right. And if you didn't want to wait, and I know we're getting really kind of close to the deadline, but if people didn't want to wait, they could even buy the current study guide, thinking, well, I'm going to do this in 2 months, and if they don't get the license by June 30th, I'll send them a free copy of the updated version.
That's hard to beat, folks.
Especially because I'll tell you another reason why. The new version is going to cost $2 more. So, if you want to save $2, buy the current version now, and I'll send you the updated version later.
That's customer service right there, folks. Hey, tell us a little bit about how things have been going for you. I know that you are the self-proclaimed CW geek. Are you still here recently in this last week? It appears all I see on the net is the bands are dead. The bands are dead. Are you having any luck at all?
Oh, yeah. So, almost any night you can listen on 40 meters and hear lots and lots of signals, except for maybe Monday and Tuesday of this week when we had a solar flare. And the bands really were dead on Monday and Tuesday, but that wasn't due to a lack of activity. It was due to ionospheric conditions. But you know what? There's lots of people on, and there's even lots of beginners on. There's a spot on 40 meters between 7,100 and say 7,125 kilohertz where there's lots of newcomers to CW. And I always tell people about that section because, it can get kind of, what am I trying to say? You get kind of nervous getting in with the fast guys. But up there around 7,100 to 7,125, there's lots of slow speed QSOs going on, and you can jump right in there.
Fantastic. That's always good to know because we have a lot of folks wanting to learn. Of course, now that we don't have to learn it anymore, everyone wants to learn it, right?
Right.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the CW. What is it? The CW Geek's Guide to Having Fun in Morse Code. Is that the correct title? Because that just came right off the top of my head. I know it's close to something like that.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a long title, but it's the CW Geek's Guide to Having Fun with Morse Code.
Okay.
And I always like to stress the having fun part. Okay. Yeah. People want to learn it, but if they're not having fun with it, don't learn it. I'm the biggest CW guy there is, right? But if it's not fun for people, I tell them don't worry about it.
Just wait and try something else and come back to it later.
That's right. Absolutely. Ham radio is supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun with it, don't do it.
I've got an online friend who's kind of beating his head against the floor right now studying. He's a musician from the past, and he says he's just having trouble getting it. Is his rhythm that he learned as a musician, will that help him?
Oh, it should. I worked lots of musicians on CW, and it is a kind of a rhythm thing. So it should help him. I think maybe in his case, it's just practice. I mean, where is he hanging up?
I think he's got about 11 letters right now so far. So, I mean, he's way ahead of me because I know 2.
Well, so maybe in his case, it's just practicing more.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll pass
The other thing I tell people is, once you know the letters and numbers, get on the air. There's nothing that'll focus you than getting on the air and trying to make a contact with another person, right?
Right.
If you're playing around with a CW learning app, it's easy to just say, "Oh, I'm too tired," or "I'm not going to get it." I just blow it off.
Right.
But when you're on the air, you've got focus.
Yeah. Real quick, Dan, what is your favorite learning app for smartphones, smart devices right now?
Well, I always give people 2 choices. The first 2 choices are the G4FON CW Trainer Program, and then the K7QO Code Course. K7QO Code Course is actually kind of an interesting thing. Chuck, I forget his last name, but K7QO, he's a real CW guy, and he's come up with this code course, and it's much different than anyone else's. He goes right through the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, and I know it's a set of MP3 files which you can play anywhere on a computer or on your phone, wherever you can play an MP3 file. Right. And what he does is he starts off slow, so I'll send just A's, real slow, and then faster. Then the next one will be B. And then somewhere in there, he does a review of the characters he's already taught you. And a lot of people like that much more than even the Koch method, which the G4FON CW trainer uses.
Right. Yeah, that's the one I've fooled with, and that's where I've learned K and M.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you real quick. You've got, I've seen rumors on your blog, or maybe they're not even rumors, maybe they're substantiated, that you're going to begin doing some audio reading on your blog. Some of your postings are going to be in audio, maybe even reading the chapters of your study manuals. Is that true?
Well, so what I've done is I started this actually about a year ago, and I wasn't happy with the results. And I think part of it was the audio equipment I was using. Mm-hmm. And with your advice, I actually bought this ATR 2100 USB microphone, and I'm getting a lot better results with it. So I've recorded the first 2 chapters of my tech study guide, and I've enlisted the help of an editor off Reddit, actually, and I'm gonna press on here and produce an audio book version of the tech study guide.
Fantastic, man. Well, that's exciting, Dan. I think you'll do great, and you do sound great. Your audio right now is perfect. I'm on the ATR 2100 as well. It's kind of the go-to, really decent price, good podcasting mic. But you get great results from it, and that's really cool, man. Congrats on that. We're excited to hear that. I know my kids who are kicking around the idea of studying would appreciate that.
It's interesting. As I was recording it, I started out by just reading what was in the book, but I quickly found out that I couldn't do that. It's a little bit different when you're listening to it. Right. So it's actually not going to be the book, but it's going to be, and so it's going to be this basically the same, but a little different, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, because it's not the written word anymore; it's the spoken word, and there's a difference there.
Right. Yeah. And I can't, like in chapter 2, there's questions about what components are in the figures. Well, you don't have a figure with an audiobook, right? So I had to describe the figure and then go through those questions. So it's going to be different, but it's going to be good.
Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to hear it. I'm excited for you for that. That's always fun to take what you've created and then take it to a different format and watch how it's accepted by folks.
Yep. And we'll see. This is going to be a real experiment, and we'll just have to see how it goes.
Well, that's what this hobby is all about, right? Experimentation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, speaking of experimentation, I want to take just a second here and kind of let everybody know that the KB6NU.com blog is now a show sponsor for us, and here in the midst of all the different breaks we have, you'll hear Dan. And Dan, I've got a little music bed to go behind your spot. We'll play it following this, and I hope you like it. I think it sounds really good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and appreciate you supporting the show, and thank you for producing your content. Your blog is great. We've got a link to it on the hamradio360.com site, and it's always great to see it refreshed, and there's relevant information there. And if you've never been to Dan's blog, this is the time to go. It's kb6nu.com, and that's the #1 ham radio blog site according to Google.
Well, that's what I joke about anyway.
Well, it's there on the top of the list. I mean, you claim it, right?
That's right. If you Google ham radio blog, I'm #1.
Yeah. I tell people we're their favorite ham radio podcast. I mean, I'm just kind of assuming. But Dan, we look forward to seeing you in Dayton. It's just a couple of days away. You're going to tell us about your talk at 9:15 Friday morning. Give us the room number and the subject again.
Okay, it's called Having Fun with Morse Code, and it's going to be about learning how to learn Morse code, how to choose a key, really geared for the newcomers. It's at 9:15 a.m. Friday morning in room 5.
Room 5. So, guys, make sure you get there. You're going to want to be there early anyway. You're probably already going to be there because of the flea market and whatnot. Make sure you check down. It's going to be a great time. Dan, look forward to meeting you, shaking your hand, telling you again thank you for participating with us here on the hamradio360.com podcast. And wow, just a few days, and I'll take my first trip to Dayton. I'm really excited.
Oh, you know what? You'll have such a blast. You won't believe it. Honest to God, you just won't believe it.
Well, that's great stuff, man. I appreciate it. And we'll catch up with you soon, Dan. Again, it's kb6nu.com for more information, or you can find him on the hamradio360.com website.
I'll see you next week.
73, Dan.
73. Hi, Dan, KB6NU here. Whether you're studying for your tech license or looking to upgrade to general or extra, you should check out my no-nonsense amateur radio license study guides. Written in my easy-to-understand, no-nonsense style, they really are the easiest way to learn what you need to know to pass the test. And they are always up to date. The PDF version of the Technician Class Study Guide is free on my website at kb6nu.com/podcast. And all my study guides are available in print, PDF, Kindle, and EPUB versions. Let me help you have more fun with ham radio. Go to kb6nu.com/podcast and get started today.
BridgecomSystems.com has set themselves up to become a major player in the amateur radio community. Repeaters, handhelds, and now mobile radios for 220 megahertz. They've got a lot going for them. We're going to catch up with Ron right here as he tells us about their plans for Dayton.
Yeah, my name's Ron of Bridgecom Systems, KC0QVT. Tim and I, my sales and marketing guy, he's KE0GWR. We'll both be at Dayton this year, and our booth number is we're in the Silver Arena, booth number 316.
Okay.
And we'll have on display our repeaters, as well as our new mobile we just debuted to the market, the 220 mobile. We'll have our 220 handheld, the BCH 220, that's been selling really well. And we'll also have a 2-meter and a 70-centimeter single-band mobile for display. Not released yet, but we'll have those on display.
Ron, let me ask you a quick question, if I can stop you here just a sec.
Yeah.
You guys chose 220 to come into to break into the amateur market for your business there, Bridgecom Systems. You guys do land mobile, commercial, whatever you want to call it. Why did you choose 220? What was the call to you there?
You know, it actually was 2 years back. We went to Dayton for the first time. I actually had my oldest son with me, and we had a lot of folks ask us when we were debuting our 2-meter and 70-centimeter repeaters. They asked us if we had a 220 repeater, and I must have said no about 15 times. And so anyway, what I did after getting back to the shop, I looked around and realized that I had access to the same hardware platform that I'd been using for the 2 meter and the 70 centimeter repeaters. So that's what prompted that was our trip to Dayton in 2014.
And you just saw a definitive need there. Folks did not have the market really. I know for a fact that our local club could not find a 220 repeater. And I stumbled over your ad one day in the back of QST and they were talking. I said, guys, here's a 220 machine. You guys should check this out and just see if it'll work for us. And sure enough, it's been working for about 2 years or about a year and a half, I guess I'd say, flawlessly. And, it was the repeater what got you into to making the handheld and into the mobile as well?
It was, yeah. We realized that that the 220 market was somewhat in a subdued state. There were folks out west and out east that were heavily into 220 because of the congested RF markets for 2 meter and 70 centimeter. So there was somewhat of a demand for it, but just having all those folks come up to us and ask us, what you got in 220, and so we just kind of stared and shook our heads, and but I just could tell there was, usually when there's more than one person asking for something, there's probably a demand there, and right. So I did a quick survey after I got back, and there seemed to be enough demand, and it wasn't much for me to actually create the 220 version because the software, which is what I did the software here at Bridgecom, was just a matter of changing the frequencies over, and everything else was the same. And the RF platform, other than the PAs and everything in the front end and the transmitter filters, just a matter of changing that over. But the platform that I parked that software on was virtually the same. So I was able to quickly get a 220 repeater to market because the development work for the most part had been done. The chassis was created. The whole guts of the repeater is very much similar to the other flavors. So it was a really cool deal. And lo and behold, here we are with a mobile out now because that came about after the repeater.
Right.
Came about. People said, "What do you got a nice mobile?" And I said, "Well, I think we can do something like that too." So it's been a pretty cool deal in that respect. You just be at the right place at the right time, I guess.
Nothing like having somebody come up and ask you to take their money.
Yeah. Well, I hate to even bring this up, but we get a lot of calls for people wanting 6 meter stuff, and I mean, I'd hate to even entertain it at this point, but that is something that we do get inquiries about because it seems like there's that's an area of the spectrum that's somewhat unserviced as well. Right.
Well, tell us a little bit about the mobile, because I've got one. I've had one for a couple of months, I guess I'd say. I've used it. I love the display on it. I dig the fact that it feels like a Motorola or a Kenwood commercial rig. It doesn't feel like a typical amateur rig, and the build quality is definitively there, and the folks around here like it a lot, and I anticipate once the guys get to see it, it's right now I've got it hidden in my shack, but once the locals get to see it, they'll be wanting one as well. Tell us a little bit about the understanding the need for the market for the repeater, and then folks saying, hey, we'd like to have a nice, really hard to program kind of ultra cheap import radio versus what you guys came up with. And I think you fell right where it needed to be personally. You can read the manual in English. It all makes sense. You can connect it to your computer. It programs really nicely. Tell us a little bit about the thought processes that went in there and the reasoning for going with the commercial type chassis versus a lighter weight amateur chassis.
Well, I've been doing software engineering for land mobile radio since 1996, and I've talked to a lot of people in both commercial and amateur, and I've come to realize that people want something that's simple, intuitive, easy to use. And so I took my experience that I've had with working with commercial and amateur radio over the last several years, and I tried to make a radio that you didn't have to be a computer scientist to understand and program. I I realized, that when I looked at a lot of these amateur radios on the market, and I'm not saying anything bad here, but I just noticed there's a lot of buttons there. They have multi-functions and things, and it can get pretty complicated. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I just realized that people wanted to just communicate back and forth one to another. And, they just wanted to enjoy that experience. And I didn't want to put a bunch of stumbling blocks in their way. So the intent was to create a very simple to use radio, but also at the same time, create a high quality radio, use a platform that had good parts in it, parts that are, name brand parts like Mitsubishi power amplifier. I mean, that's really the cornerstone of this radio. It's got a high quality brick, as they call them, 30 watts. The thing is bolted right to the heat sink, and it really does a good job at getting the heat out of the unit into those fins that will then radiate and dissipate that heat away. Mm-hmm. And the reports I've received thus far is it's running really cool. It's got 4 different power settings, 5 watts, 10 watts, 20 watts, and 30 watts. And, so you can choose how you want to run it, whether you want to run it in your vehicle or on a base, but the temperature, it does get warm, but it does do a good job. The other feature about the radio I think is key is the front panel speaker.
Yeah.
When you're in your vehicle, you want that speaker to radiate into your project into your ear, not on the top or the bottom. I see some of the radios out today where there's a speaker on the top. Well, if you're mounting that in some kind of an enclosure, let's say your dash or something, the speakers, it's not, it's going into a different area where it might be muffled, and especially if you got road noise, if you're in a truck or something.
Right.
The front panel speaker is loud enough to where you can really hear it, and it's nice. And also at the same time, there's an external speaker, there's a 3.5 millimeter, or I guess you'd call it an 1/8 inch mono plug for connecting it to an external, and that's 10 watts. But the software is very simple to use, to program it. You don't really need the software at all to program it. If you wanted to use it for data applications, which is another point I'd like to highlight, that we, really made this radio for with emphasis on data applications, doing packet transmissions, because there's a lot of that going on in 9600. Mm-hmm. Well, from what I understand, that's getting a good 9600 baud packet radio, or that'll do packet, was somewhat hard to find. So we know for sure that this radio does very well at 9600, and the reports I'm getting back from guys using it has been very good. It's just the exchange rates going back and forth has just been really well. So really happy to say that. So by the way, we did a quick video on YouTube, or I did rather, that took about a couple minutes to highlight the radio. You can see it. It's our YouTube channel, Bridgecom Systems. Actually, it's Bridgecom Systems. And you could just I should say Google, but search on YouTube for the BCM 220, and you can see a quick overview of the radio.
Yeah, we'll put a link to that particular. Well, actually, we'll post the video in our show notes. Okay. It's just very self-explanatory. So it's it doesn't take a lot of time, but it's very thorough, which is much appreciated for folks who are trying to decide about buying a radio. Now, I've got I guess you would call this a pre-production rig or a first run or pre-first run rig, but you guys now have them in stock. I think that you're shipping, a couple of dozen to Alaska for guys up there to be using. Now, are they using these for their 9600 runs, or are they using them for just voice back and forth?
Yeah, that's Anchorage Amateur Radio Club, and they're using it for data.
Okay.
I got a video from one of the fellows up there. They're hooking them up to the Camtronics. I believe it's the 9612 packet the packet, or I guess they call them TNCs.
Yeah.
I'll have to confess my experience with TNCs is somewhat limited. I'm just getting into it myself. So
I understand.
This whole thing has been a really cool ride for me as well, because, one man can only get into so many things, but these guys are pulling me into packet, and I think it's great. I mean, I'm learning so much about things because I spent a lot of time with low speed data.
Okay.
300 hertz or less, because it'd be part of the subaudible signaling associated with handshaking with radio systems.
Right.
It's the underlying signaling protocol. Well, this was not heard while you're transmitting, but now these guys are doing just complete data transmissions and exchanging, all kinds of different things, but it's all done over the RF carrier. So it's really cool.
And the cool thing about this radio, folks, is the BCM 220 is what we're talking about from Bridgecom Systems. It's their 220 mobile. You can use it. I've got it set up as a base here in the shack. It's got the plug on the back of the radio to transmit the data. I mean, it's ready to go out of the box. You don't need anything but the TNC, and you're ready to roll.
Yeah, you'll need well, that's true. You'll need some kind of a connector, to build the cable out of. And, that's easily to procure. And, we're going to get that set up so where guys can, if they want to get that as part of the package, we're going to add that as part of on our link for or recommend it to, like say you go to this place and you can source that, or we're going to probably source that as well, because we anticipate a bit more demand for the radio for packet use. So one of the things that we've been trying to do for folks is that, they can come to us and get the whole deal, where they get the radio, they get a power supply, get an antenna, get the repeater if they want, and buy handhelds. We're trying to accommodate folks, because one of the things that we're really trying to do a really good job at is providing good quality customer service. I mean, where a guy can call up and say, hey, I got this problem, or I want to learn how to do this, or I want to know what's going on here. And, they can talk to somebody, and, we can do our best to provide those answers, in a very timely way. So, that means a lot to people, we've come to realize,
Well, nowadays it's nearly non-existent, so anytime that we can get customer service, that's greatly appreciated. It's bridgecomsystems.com, and you're going to be at Dayton. Now, I'm excited because this is my first Dayton trip coming up in a matter of days. I'm going to get to meet you. I'm going to get to meet Tim, our friends from MTC, George, Jeremy, my co-host here on the show, Dan Romanchik. I know that you guys are familiar with Dan. He's no-nonsense guy. It's going to be a lot of fun, and a lot of people are going to be there. And, again, they can find you at your booth, and it's Sierra Alpha 316, SA 316, Silver Arena 316. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep, Silver Arena. We're right as you come out of the there's a hallway there where the what's the name of it? I can't think of their name now, but you come out of this hallway and you stare right at our booth. But we got a brand new booth this year. Tim just got it done. He's going to be back from the ARL convention that took place here over the past weekend in Keystone, Colorado.
Right.
And we're heading right to Dayton here in a couple days.
Fantastic. So, well, Ron, I know that you're busy, and I know you're excited. It's an exciting time in the hobby, and most especially because so many people have thought 220 was dead, or it was out of their reach, and you guys are bringing it back with the repeater. Like I say, folks, the K4II Club here in upstate South Carolina has had one online for about 18 months. It works phenomenally. We're all loving it, and it's actually the DX chasing repeater in the evenings around here. But the mobile is great. The handheld I have as well, and it works flawlessly. If you want some easy to use but well built, not the $35 stuff. This is way past that, folks. So if you're looking for high quality gear, I talk about them every episode. You should believe me by now, but it's bridgecomsystems.com. Ron, thanks again. I look forward to seeing you and Tim both down up there, I guess I should say, in Dayton in just a few days.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to meeting you too. And just to let the folks know that we will have product at our booth. If you want to buy one, we should have plenty of inventory with us. So, we'll have some stuff if folks want to buy.
Bring your cash or bring your card. You take them both, right?
Yeah, that's right. We'll have a swiper there. So, yep.
Fantastic. All right, Ron.
The handheld and the mobile. All
Fantastic.
Right,
that's the BCM 220 and the BCH 220. The M for mobile, the H for handheld. They'll also have their and I didn't know this. We're going to have a 2-meter and a 440 rig coming as well, so that's exciting. Ron, thank you so much, man. I'll see you in just a few days.
All right, good to know you, and I'll see you then.
All right, Ron. Thank you, man. Coming up, we've got Richard Lenore. Yeah, you know Richard from MTCRadio.com, one of the best places to grab your Kenwood gear, whether online or at Hamvention. That's right, MTCRadio.com. Here's my conversation with Richard while he's out on the road headed to Hamvention.
Hello.
Hey, Richard.
Yes, sir.
It's Cale. How are you?
Man, I'm tired, brother. How are you?
I'm good. Ladies and gentlemen, with us we have the road warrior, the chain store's worst nightmare, Richard Lenore from Main Trading Company, on the road to Dayton. Where are you at right now? Well, you're going to tell us where you're at right now. You'll be somewhere else when they hear this tomorrow, but where are you at right now?
Right now, we're just a little bit north of Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow. That's a long...
That is Tennessee, yeah.
You guys have been driving. You left just a few days ago, and some of you are going up in the truck with the trailer, and others are flying up. I know you're tired. I know that physically, Richard, your body is in need of some rest, but I know that you deep down inside, man, you've got to be stoked about what's going to happen this weekend.
Hey, man, I really am, Cal. This is going to be something. Yeah, in the truck, Tammy and Danielle are with me, and we've got a helper. His name is Gene. He's in the truck, and so yeah, we've been cooped up in the truck. We left yesterday morning. That was Sunday morning. Probably we pulled out of Paris around 10 o'clock. We stayed over close to Memphis last night, and we had just some trailer maintenance issues that we had to get corrected this morning. Yeah. And that threw us off a little bit. And, of course, it's pretty hilly terrain all the way across Tennessee. And, I mean, we're pulling a 32-foot trailer, and it's huge. I mean, it's huge. And, you know, we're probably overloaded a little bit. There's over 2,000 radios in the trailer.
2,000 radios.
I know.
That's insane, man. Yeah. Have you lost your mind or what?
Probably, and that's that's what some are actually saying right now. But yeah, there's over 2,000 radios. It's between 2,000 and 2,500 radios. Wow. And so we're real heavy. I have a 1-ton Dodge truck, and we're just easing along, you know. Yeah. So Christine, my wife, she's going to fly up Wednesday, and we have to be on the flea market parking lot early Wednesday morning, and we're just going to set the trailer and probably put out the Texas flags and all that stuff Wednesday. But Thursday will be kind of our unload day. We've never done a show like this to where we're actually selling out of the trailer. As you know, I hurt my back here at a few weeks ago at a show, and I've never had any kind of back issues or anything like that. But, you know, where we were last year at Dayton, it was not going to work out for us because I would have to roll this stuff, and we'd bring the same amount no matter what. And trying to carry all that in and set it up, it would have been tough. So I think if the weather holds out, this ought to be really, really good. Well, I'm telling you, there's 2,000 radios plus in the trailer. We've got ID 51As. There's 300 plus of those, and we're going to blow them out. I mean, blow them out. Here's a teaser right here for the first 50 people Friday and the first 50 people Saturday. I'm going to sell these ID 51 radios. These are the plus models in the colors, the anniversary editions. I'm going to blow them out for $279.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's the lowest price in the whole world, Cale.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we've got, now, Tammy, I'm standing at the back of the trailer right now, so they can't hear this. If she heard me say that, she'd be screaming. But they're up in the truck. We just stopped at a Cracker Barrel to eat. Okay. You know, but let's see, what else have I got?
You got a brand cool, you've got a brand new radio we don't know anything about.
Oh yeah.
You want to tell us about that?
Yeah. Now it depends on which part of the country you're in, is how you pronounce the radio, the manufacturer name. But in Paris, Texas, we pronounce it Wuxen. Wouxun. I know everybody's familiar with that.
Somebody may say O'Sheen.
I've heard it pronounced. And I think that's the proper way. But in Texas, it's Wouxun.
Okay.
But anyway, I think we have like 250. I can't remember. We've got 250. That's all we could get in. I wanted to get more, but they were rushed to get them in. This is the 8 Echo, KGUV8E. And this is a tri-band radio, 2 meters, 220, and 440. This radio, I mean, it should be one of the stars of the show. And I'm kind of expecting to sell out on those. And I'm working out the price. And the reason I say that, I haven't got the customs bill in from UPS yet.
Right.
We got them in on Thursday, I guess it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been in Dayton mode full swing that I haven't really had time to mess with them a whole lot and test them out, other than just kind of talking around there locally.
Yeah.
And but I mean, I like what I see. The only problem that I've found so far is their software.
Okay.
And normally I order software discs in, and I did this time, but they didn't make it or something. So they've been trying to email me the software, and with Gmail and Yahoo and all that, there's problems with that. But we finally got it, and we've got it on the website for download now. And that was done late Saturday night. I mean, down to the wire, man. So yeah, there's 250 of those, but they're going to be cheap. I'm for sure $150 maybe or less.
Okay.
Maybe even cheaper than that.
Does it crossband repeat like its brothers?
That's a good question, Cal. I don't know that answer right now.
That's all right. We'll find out at Dayton.
We'll find out, man. We'll find out.
But this is the Yoshi that it has the big display on it, right? It's the one that's like the later model.
Yes. It's the big display,
okay.
And it's a pretty cool radio. I mean, I've held and used the 8D, the model before that, and they're pretty good, and it does crossband repeat. I'm suspecting this one will too, but I'll know more about that maybe tonight when we stop for the night.
I got you.
We were hoping to make it to Dayton today, but it's not going to happen.
Well,
nope.
That's why you leave a few days early.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And what else have I got cooking up? I think there's one, maybe 2 pallets of Yazoo being shipped straight to Dayton for us because we couldn't get it on the trailer.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. And we've got
7,300 with you?
amps. Oh, that is a good question, Cal. We have 39 7300s in the trailer. That doesn't sound like a large number, and I guess it's not. So they'll go pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And from what I hear, there's not going to be many dealers there with them. So,
So look out. Now, I want to keep going, but we're going to stop here just a second. Tell us exactly where you're going to be in the flea market, because this is new for you. You're not going to be inside this year. Totally understand the setting up, because when we do trade shows with my wife, it's just me setting it up, and there's no fun, and I don't have nearly 2,000 radios to get out and unbox. So where can we find you? When I get to Dayton on Friday morning, I want to come see Richard and Tammy and Danielle and Christine. Where can I go to find you on the fairgrounds?
Well, first thing, the booth spaces. Everybody wants to know the booth space. And I can't even tell you what it is, but I did put it on our website, mtcradio.com. It's something. I don't remember the number. If I told you, it would probably be wrong. But I can tell you how to get to it. If you're in Hara Arena and you're standing in the Kenwood booth and you're looking out the back door, right down the ramp, it goes right outside, and your food vendors are right there.
Okay.
If you just walk right out that back door, you'll see us.
Okay.
We'll be the first dealer that you see out there. We've got a 32-foot big white trailer. We'll have Texas flags flying and MTC flags and banners and signs. And I'm telling you, we've got pallets of radios, pallets of them. We're just going to roll them out. We brought the pallet jack, and we're going to roll them right out on the parking lot and liquidate them.
All right.
We're overloaded. So
I've got the spaces. Yeah, you can't take them home. I've got your flea market spaces. It's Fox Echo 2401 through 2405. So Fox Echo 2401 is where you're at. That's, Fox Echo 2401. Yes. I looked it up.
Well,
there.
Right. It's an end cap, and it's a huge space. So it's going to be really good. I hope the weather's holding up. The girls are kind of watching that for me, and it's kind of looking kind of iffy for Saturday afternoon, but we'll probably be sold out by then.
That'll be all right. You can just close the trailer down and go eat some hot dogs or something. Tell me,
that's right.
You mentioned the big you mentioned the big Ameritron amps you're taking with us. You guys doing some show specials on those?
Oh man, let me tell you, and I may have talked about this before with you. Anytime that we are at a show with MFJ and Ameritron and all these guys, I mean, I can do a deal because there's absolutely no shipping involved. Now, on any website out there, mine included, most of them, if you order over a certain dollar amount, it's free shipping. But there really, Cale, there is no free shipping. Yeah. I mean, somebody's paying for it somewhere. So on a big Ameritron amp, if I buy one and they ship it to me from Ameritron on a big one, that's $100 for sure. And then if I ship it to a customer, that's at least another $100.
Yeah.
And all that is packed in the price somehow. So, I mean, there's really no free shipping. It's just in the price.
Yeah.
To be competitive or whatever. But if they are at a show with me, and I have ordered at least 2 pallets of Ameritron amplifiers, they bring them. They'll deliver them. They deliver them to the show on an 18-wheeler, and there's absolutely no freight charge involved getting them to me.
Right.
And then there's absolutely no freight charge in me handing the amplifier to you and you rolling it out on my dolly. I mean, so
there's deals to be had on Ameritron.
$200.
Right.
Yeah, for sure that's $200 that can come off of any price. And then, I'm going to discount it because we're just there making friends, man.
I got you. Here's the thing.
I'm excited.
Guys, he's bringing pallets of radio. And this isn't a monster chain store. This isn't a nationwide retail outlet. This is a man and his family working hard like you do every day to put food on his table and to keep people employed in Texas. And he's bringing pallets of radios to Dayton, Ohio for you to take home with you, including multiple 100-pound Ameritron amplifiers. I mean, those things are as big as you can. Bring your truck and your wife's credit card,
That's it, man. That's it. Bring cash. I'll tell you that for the best deal. Because we will cut it all the way down. I mean, even as far as credit card charges and credit card transaction fees, all of them are 2% to 5%. You bring cash, we'll knock that off too on most items. So, but we'll take credit cards right on the spot. We're excited, man. We're going to have Bridgecom 220 radios. Right. We've got piles of those. We've got Baofangs. We've got Kenwood, ICOM, Yaesu, Alenco. All models are in stock, other than one, the FT857B. They're on national back order, but everything else. Oh, I forgot to tell you this. The new Yaesu, the FT891. We will have show specials on that radio. They're not available anywhere right now.
Okay.
But I will have a price, and it'll be a show special for Dayton only. Pre-order, prepay, and as soon as they come in, it's yours. We'll ship them right out.
Okay, now, folks, we haven't rehearsed this phone call, and Richard, I was getting ready to try to put you on the spot, but you beat me to it. What can you tell us about the 891? Because there's so much speculation, it's ridiculous. Is it a replacement for the 897, the 857, the 817? Where is this thing going to fit in the family of Yaesu radios?
I don't think it's a replacement for any of those that you mentioned.
Okay.
It's HF and 6 meters only. It's going to be a step up from a 450 is what it's going to be.
Okay.
And they kind of put it in a class of its own, and there will be one on display at Dayton in the Yaesu booth, from what I'm hearing.
Do you know size when you say a step up from the 450D, which is a phenomenal radio? Is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a starter rig, and it's not a it's not a FTX 5000 or whatever. That I can't even look at those because I can't afford it. Don't even think about looking at.
I bet you can. We'll have them there with us. I'll make you a deal, man.
Yeah, and I'll come home to an empty house. Won't have anywhere to set it up. Tell me, do you know size-wise where this thing's going to fall out? Kind of, is it compact? Is it a full top, desktop like a TS590? Have any ideas about that?
I don't, man. Okay. I don't. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, it's all speculative right now. And I was going to try to catch you on that one, but you beat me to it. So that's going to be an awesome pre-sale available. Do you guys have FT817s?
I think I have a few.
Okay.
I sure do.
All right. I know that they're getting hard to find too. I guess they're getting
hard to find.
Back order.
Oh, I forgot to tell you this. We never bring used gear to the Hamfest with us ever. I mean, it's too much to package it and box it all back up and get it there, and because if you're buying a used rig, you definitely want to see it, so we can't just hand you a brown box and there you go. But but we've got a whole pallet. Danielle shrink wrapped a pallet yesterday, 6 foot tall, 4x4, whatever a pallet is, full of all kinds of used stuff, mainly all HF rigs.
Wow.
So there's from $300 rigs or less to there's an FTDX 5000, an FTDX 9000. There's what else is on there? I don't even know. There's a bunch of stuff, and we're just going to blow it out, man.
Wow.
And talking about used gear, of course, we're going to take trade-ins right there at the booth.
Yep.
We have a guy bringing gold Krugerrands because we trade for most anything. He's bringing those to trade in and get him a 990 this weekend.
Wow, big dog.
We've already made lots of deals with people already, and we're going to do the transaction there. They told us what to bring and what to do and all that, and we're bringing it. So yeah, bring your trades. We'll trade for we'll trade for any radio, no problem, but I'll trade for other stuff too. Whatever you got, bring it. We'll help you get the radio you want.
As long as it don't eat, right?
Yeah, as long as it don't eat, man. We've been through that deal before, and it just didn't work out too good.
All right, we're going to see. Go ahead.
One more thing, man. I got to throw this out there. We're going to do something else that's never been done. MTC. Now, I'm not bragging, and I hope it doesn't come off like I'm bragging, because that's not what I'm doing at all. We've done a lot of new and different things in the industry. We're the first to offer, the 4-year extended warranty on new radios. Nobody in the industry offers any kind of real warranty on used radios. This is what we're going to do, Kel. So you're comfortable in buying a used radio from us.
Mm-hmm.
If the radio is 5 years old or newer, we're going to guarantee it a year.
Wow.
So, and you pull us up on the internet, look at our eBay feedback. Our record is spotless, man.
Yeah.
If we say it's good, it's good. If you have a problem with it, send it back. We have all our radios checked. They're awesome. If we have any doubts about it, we're not gonna put our seal of approval on it.
Right.
So 5-year radios, 5 years old or newer, 1-year warranties, just like a manufacturer's warranty.
Listen, if you're a new ham and you're broke like me, and you have an ability to get to Dayton Hamvention this weekend, you need to be there and go to Flea Market Space, Fox Echo 2401. Richard just told you it's there. If you're trying to break into HF, you're a new general class upgrade, and you need an HF rig, maybe you don't have the funds to buy a brand new one, he's going to have them there. And folks, I've said this from day one. The reason I had MTC as my number one pick for show sponsor, and they've been with me before I was a show, was because I knew their reputation spoke for themselves. When Richard tells you he'll warranty your radio, he'll warranty your radio. And if he tells you it's going to be a good radio, you've got a good radio. And my gosh, the deal's $279 for the 51A anniversary edition. That is stupid, man.
I know. The first 50 people Friday, the first 50 people Saturday. And while supplies last, we're giving away ICOM T-shirts with every ICOM radio purchase. And we've got cases of them. But, I mean, there's 20,000 people show up at Dayton, so I don't think we'll have, enough T-shirts to go around.
Right.
Yazoo hats, Yazoo mouse pads, freebies, and fun. I mean, it's going to be fun. And
I'm stoked.
We're right outside the back door. We've got radio stacked, and we will help you get what you want, man. That's what awesome. We're going to do.
Are the girls excited? I call them girls. I should call them ladies. Are the ladies excited? I know they're ready to get there. They're tired of riding, but are they excited?
They are. Danielle's very excited. She's worked real hard, and Tammy is very excited for the most part, and she's worked real hard as well. This is a hard show. I mean, we do 28 Ham Fest a year, and about 300 miles is just about as far as we go, unless it's a super huge event like Dayton.
Yeah.
And it's almost 1,000 miles up here for us, and it's a 2-day drive, but we left him plenty of time to, if there's any problems, we can take care of it, and we're not just stressed out by the time we get there.
Yeah.
And we're going to rest tonight. We'll rest tomorrow night, and we should have a pretty easy setup. So
then it's on like Donkey Kong.
Oh man, it's going to be on. Last year, I mean, we had helpers that came in to help in the booth, and I mean, all of us were writing tickets from the time the doors opened until the doors closed. It just never quits. And hey, here's something else to keep in mind. I'm not sure what time the doors open there, but like to get into the buildings and the arena and all that, if it's 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever it is.
Right.
But we're out there on the flea market at daylight.
Get there early, get a deal.
You get there early, you get a deal.
Yep.
You don't even have to go in if you don't want to, but I mean you should, because there's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
But
early bird gets the worm.
I guarantee you, the early bird will get the worm. That's a given.
Right.
We've got Kenwood 870s, 950s. I mean, these are used rigs.
Yeah.
Yazoo 890s. I can't even remember. Guarantee you'll save some money. Big trailer right outside the back door. Texas flags. Christy and I'll be there. Tammy, Danielle, and we may have some other helpers show up. And I hope you get to come hang out with us a little bit too.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there for sure. And I can't wait to finally get to shake your hand and tell you thank you for being such a great supporter of Ham Radio 360, formerly Photime. It's been a lot of fun these 2 years, Richard, and I'm excited to see just how much trouble we can stir up at Dayton this year.
We're already going to be in trouble.
Well, man, y'all continue to be careful on your drive. Make sure Tammy takes her medicine. Don't get your back out of whack. And I'll see you Friday morning bright and early. As soon as the plane lands, I'm driving directly from the airport over. I'll be in booth 406, BA 406. I'll find you guys at the flea market at Fox Echo 2401, right out the back door past the Kenwood booth, so you can go by there and pick out which Kenwood you want. Go to Texas, the big Texas flag, one of the top selling dealers of Kenwood rigs in the country, his main trading company. You'll find them right outside the back door of the big arena there. Fox Echo 2401. Richard, man, thank you so much. I'll see you in a few days, and I am totally stoked about how much fun we're going to take.
Thanks, I'm really stoked, too. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome, man. Well, y'all be careful, and we'll talk to you on Friday. So that's going to wrap 52. We're going to be headed up to Dayton in just a couple of days. I'm going to get on an airplane and fly. I haven't flown in a couple of years. Actually, it's been over 10 years that I've flown, so I'm kind of excited. I've always enjoyed that, but look forward to getting there, to being at booth 406, BA 406. That's in the Ball Arena. You'll find us there at BA 406. Cannot wait to get to shake your hand and tell you thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. You've got friends that haven't listened to the show. You guys are going to be at Hamvention. Make sure you stop by and see us. Of course, we're going to be there. Jeremy and George are going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, it's BA 406. We can't wait to meet you, to say thank you for your support. We're going to have microphones set up if you want to record your call and a shout out or whatever. We're going to be there doing that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait to get to meet you. I appreciate you every time coming back and listening to the show. You've got friends that are in amateur radio. Maybe they don't listen to the podcast. Maybe they don't know what a podcast is. Well, now's the time for you to share. Just press the share key. Share it with all your friends. Tweet it, retweet it, whatever you want to do. Let everyone know about Ham Radio 360. We're covering the hobby in every direction, and we're going to be doing that this weekend at Dayton Hamvention 2016. I guess I'll see y'all there. God bless you, 73.
Thank you for listening to Ham Radio 360, brought to you by mtcradio.com. For more information about the program, visit hamradio360.com. Till next time, 73s, y'all.